Experts are warning that we're heading toward a recession. Does that mean housing prices are headed lower? As this chart, going back to the 60s, shows, other than the 2008 subprime housing bubble, the start of every recession has been a great time to buy. What most people fail to realize is that while demand does slow during a recession, so does new home building and the supply of housing, absent forced selling like we saw in 2008. There are two sides to supply and demand equilibrium. We have a housing shortage now with only about 2 months supply, way below the 10-month supply in 2008. New housing starts have lagged far behind new household formations in the last 13 years, where in 2008 we had overbuilding for 13 years. According to Realtor.com, we now have a shortage of nearly 6 million homes. In 2008, we were building twice as many homes as needed. If we did the same now, it would take 4 years just to hit equilibrium. But home builders are actually cutting back because of the impending recession and supply chain shortages. As this demographics chart shows, we have a record number of millennials currently reaching first-time home buying age. Combined with the baby boomers, we have the two biggest generations ever wanting to own homes at the same time. The vast majority of home buyers the last 13 years have 30-year fixed mortgages and a lot of equity. In 2008, many people were getting exotic subprime loans that are now illegal, with negative amortization, forcing them to sell when prices went down a little, putting them underwater with negative equity. Mortgage debt service payments now, as a percent of disposable income, is near all-time lows, way below the 2008 highs, so homeowners can much more easily afford to keep their homes. Even after the recent rise, mortgage rates are still lower than in all the pre-pandemic recessions. Real estate is local, and this chart from noted economist Paul Brubaker shows that inflation-adjusted Oahu home prices are right at the long-term trend line, unlike in 1990 with the Japanese bubble and 2008 with the subprime bubble. Each of those bubbles was preceded by a big run-up well above the long-term trend line, but this time there has been no such run-up. Yet. Another factor in Hawaii is that a big source of buyers historically has been the Japanese, and they're only now starting to return to Hawaii after isolating during the pandemic. That, combined with an increasing number of remote workers who can work from anywhere permanently, are increasing the demand side of the equation for Hawaii. The high temperature this summer has been 85 degrees, and the winter low was a little under 70, so many would prefer to work from paradise. Meanwhile, the supply side of the equation is even worse for Hawaii versus other states, as inventory is at less than 2 months and new housing starts continue to decrease with the limited desirable land and the recent crackdown on corruption at the Department of Planning and Permitting. It's basic supply and demand. Until the supply of homes increases to meet the record demand, housing prices aren't going to collapse, at least in Hawaii. While a recession and higher mortgage rates will decrease the demand for housing, where will the supply come from without the overbuilding and high levels of forced selling we saw in 2008? If you've been waiting for a big price drop before buying a house, especially in Hawaii, you may not get that drop anytime soon. Please reach out to us at Infinite Financial for your home financing needs in Hawaii. We work with a lot of top realtors and have a lot more flexibility on lending than anyone else. Please like and follow us for more useful information to come.